Justice Gorsuch gave a scathing rebuke of Sotomayor, so you figure my pronunciation.
Yep.
Sotomayor's, Justice Sotomayor's dissent opinion.
Yep.
Right. First, well, actually, let's back up. First, you have Chief Justice Roberts, who comes out and says we need to reel back in these dissenting decisions. Not that you can't dissent, but it's getting way too personal. Right.
Yes.
Then you have Gorsuch taking on Sotomayor and basically said your dissent is stupid because you contradict yourself at several points and doesn't even address the point, and you have this sort of high-minded stuff about why can't we all get along, and you're disadvantaging other people.
Yep.
And as Gorsuch points out, it's supposed to be an objective standard, and the government's not supposed to pick winners or losers, even though the colleges and Harvard in particular has been doing that. But then you have Justice Thomas, taking on Justice Brown Jackson, and you got to love this, calls her out on her quote unquote race-infused worldview. Are you following any of this, or is it just me?
No, I've definitely been following it. The Supreme Court is actually a institution that I'm incredibly passionate about and pay very close attention to the cases that they choose to take, don't take, and the opinions. So yeah, we have, no one should be surprised that an Obama appointee or a Biden appointee does not care about what the Constitution says and is instead writing their dissent based on their personal opinions rather than the objective truth of what words mean.
Well, it comes down to, right, that you have an originalist interpretation of the Constitution versus this whole concept that the Constitution is a living, breathing document. Right. Excuse me. It's not what it meant when it was founded, or when the Constitution was written. It's what does it mean in today's standard? But some of the acrimony between the justices, because you do understand that the last institution of the government that has any degree of credibility and any degree of legitimacy is the Supreme Court. So that's where they're coming after, right? It started with obviously Dobbs. Actually, it started way before Dobbs, but Dobbs certainly energized the progressive left, and now they're obviously coming back and saying, forget about even court packing, right?
Yeah.
They're attacking, they're going after Alito. They're going after, they haven't quite gone after Gorsuch yet, but they're going after Alito. They're certainly going after Clarence Thomas, because, he's clearly, he's an Uncle Tom, which he's been called, right? Which is just, if that's not race baiting, I don't know what is.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
But,
well, the left is the most, they've always been the most racist of them all. And so we shouldn't be shocked that they would be attacking him in that way.
And then you've got Obama who jumps in to question the decision. And you got to love Senator Tim Scott, who basically called Obama's reaction, actually it was Michelle Obama and Barack Obama's reaction to the Supreme Court decisions. Tim Scott calls their reaction a lie from the pit of hell. Don't believe me? Look it up, folks.
Good for
Not
him.
my words. That's his words.
Good for him.
Right. So, but what I want to get to is, this is now the final battle, right? As we've talked about, before we're a democracy, and we're not really a democracy, we're a constitutional republic. But even before we're a constitutional republic, we're a nation of laws. And if you want to get rid of or change the country, the first thing, or really, the baseline is, after you've gotten rid of all the icons and the, memorials, and you rewrite the history, is you get rid of the laws. And the first thing you do to do that is you get rid of the people who enforce the laws. Initially, we thought that was just the police, right? It is law enforcement. But it's also judges.
Yeah.
And the pinnacle of legitimacy or of legal foundation of this country, the laws, is the Supreme Court. So they're clearly going to now, so the Supreme Court is now, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it is the next great battleground, and maybe the last one. What do you think?
I would say it's been a battleground for a long time. And the evidence of that is the number of liberal justices that we have on the court. So they took at every opportunity.
Only got 3.
That's three too many. If there are three justices on the Supreme Court who don't believe that English is English
And Brett
that
Kavanaugh from time
words
to time,
mean
too.
what they mean. Yeah, exactly. Gorsuch too. He has sided with the liberal justices in order to try to like maintain some kind of a
No. Wait a minute. First of all, I'm a big Gorsuch fan, as I was a big Scalia fan. You have to understand something. If you are correctly applying the law, it means there are going to be decisions that you don't personally agree with. But the law is the law, right? So those times, so I have more of an issue with Kavanaugh, who generally tends to.
So hold on though, Robert.
Okay, go ahead.
It is the
I know this is a
Supreme
passion
Court-
area for you.
The Supreme Court's job is to determine whether or not a law is constitutional or not. Not whether or not it's fair, not whether or not it's good, not whether it's applied correctly or not. Congress's job is to create laws. The SCOTUS, the Supreme Court's job, is to determine whether or not a law is constitutional. So I don't care what any of those Supreme Court justices think about any of the laws. That's Congress's job. If people don't like the law, then go back to Congress and change it. We do not make, change, or manipulate laws through the Supreme Court. Their job, one job, is to determine whether or not something is constitutional or not. So I don't care what their opinions are. I don't care if they like it or not.
You were saying that Gorsuch sided with some of the liberal justices in a few of the cases, and I said that's right. And frankly, I don't remember the cases in particular. He's supposed to. It's supposed to be an objective application, an objective standard, and that doesn't mean if a law is passed and the intent of the law is clear. And by the way, Congress's job is not to pass laws. Congress's job is to pass clear laws. That's fault 101, because they don't do that, and they defer to the administrative state. And we already talked about that.
Yeah, we
whole Chevron
know that already.
That whole Chevron deference ruling, where they let the deep state or the administrative state really interpret laws which they're not supposed to.
Well, Congress and that's more evidence that there is an attack that the legitimacy of the Supreme Court. So when you have the Supreme Court at times over the years, saying separate but equal, and then oh my God, these same people who are attacking the Supreme Court now and saying, oh, we have to uphold precedent in abortion, we have to uphold precedent. Should we have upheld decisions that said it was okay for Black people to be treated separately as long as it was equal?
Plessy versus Ferguson. Plessy versus Ferguson.
Are we going to say that loving was not legitimate, where now interracial marriage is okay? Okay, I'm gonna.
All right. Take a break. So.